Transportation Ministry to provide UNO's C-19 testing service at 4 airports. Tunas Baru Lampung to issue $400 million bonds. Good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from the business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Wicky Adrian, this is Market Headlines. Minister of Transportation Budi Karya Sumadi announced that airplane passengers can use Geno's services starting April 1st, 2021. However, this service is only valid at 4 airports in Medan, Bandung, Yogyakarta, and Surabaya.
Minister of Transportation Budi Karya Sumadi announced that airplane passengers can use Geno services starting April 1st, 2021. However, the service is only valid at 4 airports. These airports, namely Kuala Namu International Airport in Medan, Airport in Bandung, Airport in Yogyakarta, and Surabaya. Meanwhile, Soekarno-Hatta International Airport in Banten, which is Indonesia's main airport, has not yet provided Geno services.
Dan 1 April kita akan mulai di sektor udara dan kita juga akan lakukan bertahap. Pertama kali kita akan lakukan di 4 bandara, bukan di Soekarno-Hatta tetapi di Kuala Namu, di Bandung, di Jogja, dan di Surabaya. Baru secara perlahan kita akan lakukan untuk penggunaan Genus ini, kita harapkan pada 1 Mei sudah di seluruh Indonesia diberlakukan.
Budi Karya said that Geno services at 4 airports are like a pilot project, if successful, as has now been implemented in the railroad transportation sector. The plan is that Geno services will be presented at all airports in Indonesia starting May 1st, 2021. He also explained the reason for the government to allow Geno's use at airports, namely because the price is more affordable for the public. This is unlike the more expensive PCR and rapid antigen testing services. From Jakarta, IDX Channel team reported.
The Ministry of Transportation stated that it does not prohibit mudik activities this year. However, the ministry ensures that it will coordinate with the COVID-19 task force and implement strict regulations and tracing on travelers.
The Ministry of Transportation ensures that it will not ban 8 homecoming or mudik this year. This was conveyed by the Minister of Transportation Budi Karya Sumadi during a working meeting with Commission 5 of the House of Representatives. The minister said that he would coordinate with the COVID-19 task force so that people can go home on this year's Eid al-Fitr. However, the Ministry of Transportation ensures that it will strictly enforce the regulations and carry out tracing for people who travel.
2021 pada prinsipnya pemerintah melalui Kementerian Perhubungan tidak melarang. Kami akan berkoordinasi dengan gugus tugas bahwa mekanisme mudik itu kita atur bersama dengan pengetatan dan melakukan tracing terhadap mereka-mereka yang akan bepergian.
The Minister of Transportation added that the imposition of passenger restrictions and even departure schedule arrangements will be discussed in detail with the COVID-19 task force so that the implementation of health protocols during homecoming or mudik can be carried out strictly. From Jakarta, Ricky Anwardi for IDX Channel.
Minister of Public Works and Housing will boost infrastructure projects in 2022 so that it will be completed in 2024. With expectation there will be no stalled projects until the end of President Joko Widodo era.
Through virtual press conference, Minister of Public Work and Housing, Basuki Hadiwujono, said that a number of projects that will be carried out in 2022 can be completed until 2024. This was mentioned by the minister because he didn't want stalled infrastructure projects in the upcoming cabinet, which is after President Joko Widodo era. For that, his party will conduct more selective mapping on a number of projects so that they can be completed in 2024. The minister confirmed that his party would focus on infrastructure development in 2022 in the form of optimization, maintenance, operation, and rehabilitation.
Artinya pembangunan baru sangat selektif. Kalau pembangunan baru nanti kecuali loan, kalau tidak selesai tahun 2023 atau 2024, batalin, jangan dibangun. Sehingga kita tidak meninggalkan isu-isu pembangunan untuk kabinet yang akan datang, supaya tidak ada isu-isu yang kurang baik. Jadi semua harus sudah siap ke sana arahnya.
Therefore, several projects that are expected will be not done by 2023 or 2024 will be terminated by the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. This is done to avoid project failures in the upcoming cabinet, which begins from stalled project in the previous cabinet. Jakarta, Adi Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
Manpower Ministry is now preparing policy regarding religious holiday allowance, which is still obligatory despite the pandemic. Ministry is about to renew Regulation Number 6 of 2016 concerning employers' obligation to pay the bonus.
Indonesia's Ministry of Manpower has reminded employers that payment of the religious holiday allowance is still obligatory despite this pandemic. In front of the House of Representatives, Manpower Minister Ida Fauzia stated that the ministry is renewing Regulations Number 6 of 2016 concerning employers' obligation to pay the bonus. Last year, the ministry issued Regulation 6, 2020, which allows employers to postpone holiday allowance payment or pay in installments, of course, with employees' agreement. Not only that, the minister will also coordinate with the Statistic Agency to ensure the availability of data related to the minimum wage this year. In particular, data related to economic growth, inflation, purchasing parity, employment rates, and median wages, including the determinations of wages for small and micro businesses, which is based on average consumption and poverty line.
Kami akan merumuskan kebijakan pengupahan, kami telah merumuskan kebijakan pengupahan pada masa pemulihan ekonomi akibat COVID-19 seperti pemberian tunjangan Hari Raya Keagamaan tahun 2021.
Ida added that her party will also coordinate with the Ministry of Home Affairs to evaluate sectoral minimum wage that will be set on November 2nd, 2021. From Jakarta, Adi Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Dari awal memang harus dikerjain sendiri semua, harus tahu, ngerti dulu semua sendiri, baru kita bisa hire tim. Jadi kita bisa ngelatih timnya untuk melakukan job itu.
Dari Ayu apa nih untuk bisa mempunyai bisnis serupa?
Kalau misalnya mau start bisnis ya, misalnya di industri makanan itu mesti tahu bener, udah pasti, oh ini kalau kita jual ini marketnya ada. Dan banyak orang yang mencoba berbisnis karena melihat tren kan, nggak selalu harus ngikutin passion.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Conversation Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut, seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, adanya pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira Brent hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri yang itu kira.
PT Garuda Indonesia Persero Tbk telah melakukan pemutusan kontrak penyewaan 12 pesawat Bombardier CGR-1000.
Kita memutuskan untuk mengembalikan 12 pesawat Bombardier CRJ-1000.
Pemerintah berencana memberikan insentif pajak penjualan atas barang mewah atau PPNBM untuk kendaraan bermotor.
Tujuan dari insentif ini adalah dalam rangka mendorong pemulihan ekonomi lebih cepat.
Welcome back. Import in February 2021 rose by 14.86% year-on-year, and it was dominated by raw material import. Trade Minister believes that this is a positive signal for the revival of the economy and awakening moment of manufacturing industry, especially for automotive manufacturers.
Indonesia import value was recorded at $13.26 billion in February 2021, up by 14.86% compared to the same month last year. In a virtual press conference, the Minister of Trade highlighted the increase in February 2021 imports is dominated by raw materials. According to him, an increase in imported raw materials indicated that the industrial sector has begun to move, especially automotive industry. Automotive production is expected to increase by 800,000 to 1 million units per year this year. Whereas in 2020, the number of vehicles produced in Indonesia only reached 500,000 units due to COVID-19 pandemic.
Sebenarnya suatu tren yang bagus gitu kan ya, dan kita sudah prediksikan memang ada beberapa industri yang akan naik dengan dengan dihapuskannya PPNBM untuk otomotif. Saya merasa bahwa ini pasti ada peningkatan daripada impor barang-barang bahan baku dan bahan penolong untuk memastikan bahwa stok kita untuk otomotif kita tahun ini akan lebih baik daripada tahun lalu. Jadi kalau tahun lalu kita cuma konsumsi 550.000 mobil, mudah-mudahan kita bisa naik antara 800 sampai 1 juta.
The Trade Minister also hopes that the increase in value of vehicle export abroad can increase by 3 to 4 billion from 2020 realizations of 6 billion only. Jakarta, Muhammad Olga for IDX Channel.
Indonesia posted another trade surplus of $2 billion in February. Indeed, surplus sounds better than deficit, but then recently, term of surplus is quite alarming. It is because the export showed little increase while import showed downtrend. On month-on-month basis, imports contracted by 0.5%. However, compared to last year, February's import grew by 14.9%. And let's see the next graphic for the detail. This is Indonesia's monthly import value in February 2020. It was on the value of $11.5 billion. Meantime, in February, it is on the level of $13.26 billion. We compiled the data from Statistik Indonesia, or BPS. The value of Indonesia's imports in February, which increased annually for the first time since June 2019, is seen as a positive signal for national economic recovery. This condition is also a sign that manufacturing performance is still maintained. Even better, if we take a look at the proportion raw material dominated February import. To see the whole proportion, let's see on the next graphic. This is February import proportion, 74.57% is dominated by raw material, capital goods 16.23%, and consumption 9.2%. The large share of imports of raw materials is good news because it indicates that the industry is starting to grow and will have an impact on rolling investment in the future. Reviewing the trend, imports of raw materials and capital goods have recovered, accelerated in January and continued to February. Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani Indrawati hopes that the manufacturing industry will experience an economic recovery in the first quarter, hopefully in full year. As a whole, the trend of raw material import is indeed picking up. Latest data, which was February 2020, showed improvement as well, both on month-to-month basis and year-on-year basis. Let's see the detail on the next graphic. This is Indonesia's raw material import value in February 2021. It was on the level of $9.89 billion US dollar. Month-to-month basis, 9.08% growth. And year-on-year basis grew by 17.68%. Seeing these developments, the economist of the Institute for Development of Economics and Finance, or INDEF, Bima Yudhistira, said the increase in imports of raw materials is in line with the preparation of the manufacturing industry for the months of Ramadan and Eid. In a sense, there was an increase from February 2020 because in that period, Indonesia's imports had begun to be disrupted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So when compared to last year, imports of raw materials could increase. Minister of Trade, M. Lutfi, stated that automotive industry is one of the sectors that has big contribution of raw material imports. He expects raw material imports is a sign of higher needs. Therefore, he expects much that Indonesia can sell more automotive products like cars. And let's see the minister's expectation in the next graphic. The car sales in Indonesia in 2020 realization is on the level of, or was on the level of 550,000 units. In 2021 expectation 800,000 units to 1 million units. And this condition is also expected to spread to the performance of Indonesia's manufactured exports as well. Lutfi hopes that this year's automotive exports can increase by 3 to 4 billion US dollar compared to the realization in 2020, which was only 6.6 billion US dollar. 2020 was a tough year. Car sales decreased 19.37% compared to 2019. One thing to be underlined, current high imported raw materials was supported by imported machineries goods. It indicated higher automotive demand in the country, and overall it indicated recovery in manufacturing sector. Nonetheless, we expect imports to pick up as economic growth accelerates, driven by stronger domestic consumption and increasing fixed capital investment activities. Stay tuned on Market Headline Speakers. Will be right back after the break.
Menteri Kesehatan Budi Gunadi Sadikin menargetkan vaksinasi COVID-19 akan rampung pada minggu ini. Level-level 6.200-an ini menjadi level krusial juga ya.
ASG mungkin masih berpotensi menguat ya. Karena kita lihat juga kalau misalkan secara domestik.
For tourism, I think what we have to do is for returning.
We're on the last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. Earlier today, JCI was open at the level 6,318.07, and then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,287.9 or 69. Then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,277.23. In short, JCI went down 0.51%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got Miss Industry as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 0.33%. Infrastructure went up 0.23%. And we got agriculture as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 1.25%. And trade went down 1.00%. Moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Tins went up 3.11% to the level of 1,825 per share. Antam went up 1.32% to the level of 2,200 per share. WSKT went up 3.18% to the level of 1,460 per share. PTPP went up 4.82% to the level of 1,630 rupiah per share. Meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got BBRI went down 1.06% to the level of 4,670 rupiah per share. BBCA went down 0.23% to the level of 33,050 rupiah per share. Agro went down 3.37% to the level of 1,290 rupiah per share. And Inco went down 1.1% to the level of 4,510 rupiah per share. This is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Opened at the level of 14,459 rupiah, was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. Was closed at the level of 14,415. In summary, rupiah went down 0.08%. Tunas Baru Lampung has received approval from shareholders to raise funds through the issuance of bonds of $400 million or equivalent to 5.64 trillion rupiah in Singapore Exchange Securities Trading Limited.
Tunas Baru Lampung has received approval from shareholders to raise funds through the issuance of bonds of $400 million or equivalent to 5.64 trillion rupiah. The value of this bond issuance is equivalent to 95.81% of company's equity as of December 2020. Vice President Director of Tunas Baru Lampung, Sudarmo Tasmin, said that the company chose the option of raising funds through bond issuance is to diversify its funding sources. Later, the proceeds from the bond will be used to buy back or pay off $250 million in guaranteed senior notes with 7% interest issued by the company's subsidiary and will mature in 2023. The company will also use the proceeds to pay off its bonds amounting to 1.5 trillion rupiah, which is part of the Tunas Baru Lampung Phase 1 bonds and matures in 2023 and 2025. Furthermore, the proceeds from the bond issuance will also be used to reduce company's short-term debt. IDX Channel team reported.
Bank Rakyat Indonesia claims to be able to manage securities properly and prudently, especially government bonds. This is evidenced where the market of BRI or market share of BRI is maintained in the range of 18 to 20% for the primary market and 13 to 16% for the secondary market.
Bank Rakyat Indonesia or BRI claims to be able to manage securities properly and prudently, especially government bonds. This is evidenced where the market share of BRI is maintained in the range of 18 to 20% for the primary market and 13 to 16% for the secondary market. Bank Rakyat Indonesia Senior Executive Vice President of Treasury and Global Services, Listiarini Dewajanti, explained that in 2020, the company managed government securities amounting to 284 trillion rupiah or 5.6% of the total circulated government bonds. She mentioned that even in the midst of pandemic, investor confidence in BRI is still good. Listiani also added that in the midst of slowing economic activity as a result of the pandemic which slowed lending, BRI continues to optimize the condition of bank liquidity through placement in securities, which are actively managed while paying attention to potential risk. IDX Channel team reported.
Step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes big role on current economic situation, and here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe. Halo Pak Akbar, pemirsa, senang sekali saya Wicky Adrian kembali menjumpai Anda dalam Momen Stock edisi spesial. Kali ini saya sedang berada di Sarinah Department Store, badan usaha milik negara yang bergerak di sektor retail. Nah, kali ini saya akan berbincang bersama Direktur Retail PT Sarinah Persero untuk mengetahui bagaimana proyeksi Sarinah ke depan. Pemirsa, inilah Momen Stock selengkapnya.
Halo, saya Lis Permana Lestari, Direktur Retail PT Sarinah Persero. Saya mengawali karir saya di BUMN tahun 2000 dan memang saya sudah 18 tahun di BUMN. BUMN pertama saya bekerja di PNM, PT Permodalan Nasional Madani, selama 10 tahun. Kemudian saya lanjutkan karir saya di BUMN juga, ACI, Asuransi Ekspor Indonesia. Selama 2 tahun dan saya melanjutkan juga ke asuransi juga, yaitu Askrindo, Asuransi Kredit Indonesia, juga untuk 2 tahun saya berkarir. Dan saya lanjutkan lagi karir saya sebagai Kepala Divisi Penjaminan Bisnis untuk di Jamkrindo, Jaminan Kredit Indonesia, yang juga BUMN. Setelah itu saya mengawali karir saya sebagai direksi di PT Sarinah Persero tahun 2016, yang mana saya sudah memasuki tahun keempat di sini, dan saya mengawali karir sebagai direksi retail Sarinah itu benar-benar memulai dari sesuatu hal yang baru, tetapi tetap saya memiliki passion terhadap pekerjaan ini karena retail is a detail dan saya menyukai hal-hal yang detail. Juga berbau fashion. Jadi seperti yang dilihat di sini, saya juga tampilkan produk-produk UMKM, produk-produk Sarinah yang saya pakai juga ini semua produk-produk dari UMKM. Mulai dari jam, kemudian cincin, dan juga gelang dan aksesoris saya ini juga baju semua dari UMKM. Memang saya seperti nyebrang industri. Tadinya saya bekerja di financial institution, tetapi saya mengawali karir sebagai direksi Sarinah di retail industry. Yang mana menurut saya challenging karena untuk menjadi direksi wanita di BUMN tantangannya cukup mengasyikkan karena kita dituntut untuk fokus leadership yang kuat, tetapi kita juga tidak lupa untuk merangkul para karyawan, merangkul semua pihak. Apalagi saya di bisnis retail, saya harus tetap menjalin untuk networking.